You're listening to DraftKings Network.
Everyone is talking about magnesium. It's all you hear about. But why? What do we know about magnesium? Well, magnesium is the number one mineral that 75% of Americans are deficient in. If you are a woman over 35, magnesium will help you rediscover balance, energy, and vitality. Magnesium supports more than 300 enzymatic reactions in your body, including those involved in hormonal balance. From functional medicine doctors to mental well-being and female hormone experts, we all know that magnesium is the one mineral to improve all aspects of well-being and health. But which one? Magnesium Breakthrough from Bioptimizers, the trusted choice recommended by leading experts with 7 best-absorbed forms of magnesium to ensure your body receives the support it needs for overall well-being. Go to bioptimizers.com/balance today and use code BALANCE10 for 10% off. Support your journey to wellness at bioptimizers.com/balance. Magnesium Breakthrough from Bioptimizers, your foundation to optimal health and vitality.
This is the Dan Batard Show with the Stugotz podcast.
In the spirit of closing that loop, Billy, because I am grateful that my admonishment of you being an active and purposeful irritant who tries to destroy the show, you actually made yourself helpful there, and I was confused by it. I thought your hands were in your pocket and that I would mistrust you because when you're helpful, I think there's an agenda or something that you're up to.
Is this a compliment or an apology or an insult? What is this exactly?
It's neither of those things. It's not an apology or a compliment, but I thank you for bringing back this subject because I don't think that we talked enough about the people in your life that you believe would problem solve with a headbutt. Because the headbutt, I have never thought, right? I would try to protect my head in a fight. I would not be aggressive with my head in a fight. I know a few people who would handle stuff this way. There is one person, I've told you the story, you're always making fun of me when I quote sources from the MMA community, but I know some people down here in South Florida, which has a very active MMA community, a lot of MMA business down here, that a friend of mine was one time driving behind somebody who was on a bicycle and on the back wheel and purposely weaving through traffic and ignoring that my friend was honking and trying to get around him. And so eventually they got into a shouting match and my friend got out of the car, went up to the cyclist who approached him, headbutted him and left him in the street, solved it with a headbutt. But I don't know many people. I wouldn't mess with any of them. I don't know many people who solve things with a headbutt, and I'm asking you guys, what do you make of someone who does? Because that is a person that I would not want to mess with.
Once you're willing to go with the headbutt, there is no line you're not willing to cross.
Right.
Like, that person is crazy.
Yeah, to me, headbutting and eye gouging almost seem to go together in some odd way. You know, I would find it difficult to be a soccer player and just head the ball. I mean, because it's like, wow, that must give you a headache.
Right.
How do you do that? But
What?
to actually head
Greg,
somebody else's
it often
skull.
does.
I'm with them. I try to avoid a header.
No, Mike knows.
Yeah.
Now, I am familiar with the woodpecker community, okay? Woodpeckers use their beak to peck wood, which in and of itself has to hurt. You know, so the human equivalent of the woodpecker is the headbutter.
Yep.
You know, so there is some precedent there.
Yeah.
What? I've made my point. Now I'll move on.
It was a good one.
Thank you.
Yep.
Woodpecker that pecks wood.
Yeah. They use their beak to peck wood.
Right.
They don't have arms. You know, if I had a hammer, they don't have a hammer. They use their beak. And the headbutt is similar.
Right.
The motion is similar.
Correct.
You know?
Right.
So, you know, take my point and run with it. Bring it to the bank. Invest it. Go into a bank, go up to a teller, and say, I want to invest the idea that a woodpecker and a headbutter is a similar...
People just walk in, give me takes all day.
First of all, you saying the phrase, I'm familiar with the woodpecker community, is useless.
I am.
I don't believe the woodpecker suffers any pain from. We'll ask Ron McGill. He's going to be on with us. I don't think there's any pain involved for the woodpecker there.
We have breaking news. No Ron McGill. Hyena surgery.
Yeah.
I misread it first and thought it was hernia.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
Wow.
has to be. No?
Get Woody on the phone.
He's familiar with the woodpecker community. He'd be helpful.
Is there another
You
woodpecker?
would. I can't think of one.
Put it on the poll at Batard Show.
Famous, that's for sure.
So is the logic like if I headbutt you, I'm already sacrificing the thing that you would punch. In fact, I'm using this punchable thing as the weapon. So there is nothing that you can do to actually hurt
To me, it's like a nose butt or a mouth butt.
well, there's an art to it too.
It's a mouth butt.
Like you don't lead in with nose. That's not what you do.
I'm just saying that using the thing that you would be trying to protect from getting hit to start the fight, that it's no one's got. There can't be a fight where anyone's expecting a headbutt. It's got to be
In that part of the country and that part of the world, I would expect it more.
Saudi Arabia.
Well, was that in Saudi? Well, I was going to say with Europeans.
Right.
Yeah.
Like Zinedine Zidane.
Yeah,
The
they're
Jokic's.
Europeans.
Good point.
Europeans
The
are
Jokic
more
brothers definitely would have.
Slavs.
Yes.
Yeah.
They're more likely to headbutt. This is a sweeping generalization that might be xenophobic, but I feel confident in saying this. Europeans headbutt more.
They do, especially Eastern European.
Put it on the poll. Do Eastern Europeans headbutt more? Just leave it like that.
Especially when you consider it's family ties. More marauders.
Also, gypsies.
Well, he is a gypsy king, but I've found that is a disparaging word, and you can only use it in context of like Tyson Fury calls himself this.
That's correct.
Would you rather come face to face with a biter or a headbutter?
Wow.
Put that on the poll as well. Would you prefer to come face to face with a biter or a headbutter? And also put on the poll at Batard Show: do woodpeckers hurt their beaks or heads when they woodpeck? Because I don't believe that they do. Otherwise, I'm guessing they would stop doing it.
No, that's why there's that concussion stuff. Like I think that necklace that you see a couple football players wearing around their neck is like the tech is based on woodpeckers.
Mm-hmm. Well,
The internet is telling me a woodpecker's brain takes a big hit with every peck against a tree, yet the animal doesn't get brain damage. A team of scientists says the reason is the brain's very small size.
No CTE for that one, huh?
How about that?
Bird brain.
They don't have a hammer, though. They have no choice.
That's right. That is what Greg Cote
Do what you
said.
gotta do.
Do you guys know what he was doing there? Because Greg Cote has a stream of thoughts. He thinks all his thoughts are interesting, and anytime there's one in there, he just says it, even if it's useless. Do you guys know what he was doing there? Because he was doing the song from, I guess, the 1960s, If I Had a Hammer.
Mm-hmm. If I had a hammer. Yeah.
Sing it, Greg.
Trini Lopez, I believe.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken.
Back that ass up.
Yeah. How about yeah. It's a folk song. If I had a hammer, I'd hammer in the morning. I'd hammer in the evening. All over this land. I'd sing about justice. I'd sing about freedom. I may have mixed that up. It might be freedom and then justice. But it starts off, if I had a hammer, and then it turns into like a folk song.
Woodpeckers prevent brain damage in a fascinating way. Their tongues wrap around their jugular veins to increase blood flow to the brain. That's what those necklaces do. They increase
How about
blood
that?
flow.
Mm-hmm.
That's fascinating.
The woodpecker's biology functions much like bubble wrap to protect and insulate the brain from damage.
Trini Lopez is also not Trina, who also is not Juvenile, who sings back that ass up. Lots of confusion.
What year was that song? And again, why did you insert that in the middle of what it is you were talking about, as if anyone should understand it?
It was 1962.
There you go. Good year. Greg Cote, 7 going on 8. Prime of my life.
You've made LeBron 40, prime of his life, and you're 7.
Everyone has a different prime.
Yeah. That was the beginning of my prime when I was 7.
Early bloomer.
You're still in it.
Thank you.
Howdy, folks. It's Mike Ryan, and as you know, you're probably a sports fan. You know it's playoff time, and you probably have a team that you want to root on, and maybe you're like me and you're not a season ticket holder, so you miss the first crack at getting tickets. So what do? you check the secondary market. Well, let me tell you about my best friend in that secondary market because I've tried them all, and no one's as good as Game Time, the only ticketing app that gives you complete peace of mind with your purchase. You get to see the view from your seat on your phone before you buy the tickets. All-in pricing shows your total cost up front, so there are no surprises. Buy tickets in seconds with just 2 taps. I'm telling you folks, this is a personal endorsement from me. I was using Game Time long before they joined us, and I'm so happy they're with us so I can preach the good word. Trust me, folks. Game Time. That is what you need. Take the guesswork out of buying NBA tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code DAN for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code DAN for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed.
Dan Le Batard.
Ron, I can't walk around my house naked because I fear that the cat would be traumatized.
Stugotz.
Like if your cat or dog suddenly saw you nude walking around your house, how would they react to that? What would they think?
Probably wondering why I don't have spines at the end of my penis.
Yeah, like a cat.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz.
Perhaps Billy and Stugotz can explain something to me because I'm at a bit of a loss. I don't understand the general enthusiasm around the NFL schedule coming out. It's a real baffling to me how interested people are in this. And I've also got a place where I believe that Billy and Stugotz might be most at odds on football analysis. Because Stugotz says Joe Burrow is the best quarterback in football. I think he made him better than Patrick Mahomes. And
I made Alex Smith better than Patrick Mahomes. So.
But I think you have said that Joe Burrow is the best quarterback in football, and I don't think Billy not only doesn't agree with you. I think Billy thinks that
he's got to prove something to me this year. I'll say it.
Say it.
Yeah, I said it. He's got to prove something this year. Stay healthy.
Yep.
Take him over the hump.
How about the schedule, though? Because
I don't know what Dan's talking about when he says he doesn't get excited. I feel bad for you, honestly.
Right.
Smile. Enjoy it. Yeah.
Dan, the Chiefs, opening 2 weeks, Ravens, and Bengals. I mean, if Burrow wants to prove something to Billy, he could do it early by beating Patrick Mahomes.
Opening night.
Yeah.
Well, no. Me too.
That does get me excited.
It
Just
does.
knowing exactly I can build myself up to this one Monday night.
Play, win, loss.
Now, I have a Monday night game to open the season. It's Jets at Niners. I hate a Monday night to open the season. I have to wait around all
Week
weekend.
one, you don't want
Monday.
yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
You don't want it. But the good news in that is that Aaron Rodgers will be playing on grass.
Exactly right. On the road.
Yes,
So he'll
yes.
probably get a game in.
But how about the news that we're getting a Friday in Rio to open up the season
yeah,
after
amazing.
opening night?
We have games. NBC just picked up a game, according to Adam Schefter, I believe, that is going against the college football playoffs.
Wow.
Now, it's an expanded playoff this year, so it's the
I don't
first
like that.
week. Why?
I don't like that.
It's the NFL flexing.
I don't like that.
Yeah.
The
I don't like
NFL
that.
does whatever it wants. I do think schedule day is more interesting than it used to be in the NFL because of international games. Now there are like 3 or 4 a year, and because of 3 Christmas games this year. That'll be interesting to see how those shake out.
This is exciting, Dan. This is a big day. I mean, and today's not even schedule release is tomorrow.
Just
This
leaking
is
out right now.
leak season.
Yeah.
But I like the
Exactly
leagues.
right.
The
I like
reason,
the leagues.
I
the reason
love
you
the
like it is because you want to see where your team fits in the hierarchy of the league. How many primetime games do I have? How many do the Jets have? I want to know where I am because that's how the league just puts. They basically just say if you have 10 primetime games, you're a good team.
I'll tell you
If
one
have
story.
you're terrible.
I'll tell you one storyline I was looking for, Chris, and that was where's Tom Brady going to pretend to be calling
We
his
found
first
out
game in?
yesterday.
What's he got?
It's going to be Cleveland.
Oh, wow.
That he doesn't actually show up to play to call because he might actually be playing in the game.
Browns versus who?
Cowboys. You know his
Of
first
course,
assignment
come on.
on Fox
You know it's
had to be the
Cowboys.
Cowboys.
It's Fox.
But he's just
Not gonna be
wading into
Cowboys.
the waters with just a classic Deshaun Watson game already, like challenging himself.
How's he going to handle that one?
How does this do nothing for you? I don't understand. I mean, sure, you could argue and say you already knew who you're going to be playing on the home and who you're going to be playing on the road, but now you know when you're going to be playing them home and road because it matters. Because then you know, is it going to be cold? Is it going to be hot? Do I get them early? Do I get them before they start clicking? Steelers, you want to play early. We talked about this last week on GBF. You get the Steelers, which the Jets do. You want them early in the season before things start clicking in the Steel City because you know that that's bound to happen. Because Tomlin always gets his team ready, but it always takes a little bit of time to get them there. Here's another one, Dan. This one's for free. Trevor Lawrence needs a big year. Needs a big year.
You have had a stronger opinion than that. Needs a big year.
On Trevor
or
Lawrence?
what?
I think I said before that this may be his last year in the league. Is that what you're referring
stronger
to?
That's stronger than needs a big year.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it could be
that's
his last year in the league.
Yeah.
What does Joe Burrow exactly have to show you?
Anything, really. I mean, just been
won
a
an
lot of
AFC.
huff and puff from
He
him.
beat the Chiefs.
He's been the only one.
No.
Him and Tom Brady have been like the only ones to beat them.
In Billy's defense, he is the highest paid quarterback in the NFL this season at $55 million, and Jared Goff is second.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
We are not prepared for the amount of money Jared Goff is going to be making it throughout his career when it's all said and done.
Well, you say it's crazy, but hasn't he already been the highest paid quarterback in the sport once? Didn't Jared Goff already have that
Yeah,
distinction?
but for the Lions to take the next step, you need to not pay Jared Goff $53 million or whatever it is.
He's making more than Justin Herbert, Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts, Patrick Mahomes this season.
He's making more than everybody but Joe Burrow, and that's what happens when the latest quarterback signs. It's why now people think Tua is going to get $50 million because, I mean, Carson Wentz was the highest paid quarterback in football at one point. The guy who comes up that year, that's how that one works. But I want to circle back around to what it is Mike said about Tom Brady. Didn't he say in his first press conference about being an announcer, didn't he throw out there that Dak Prescott has to show him something?
Yeah.
Really?
Oh, man.
Oh, man.
Well, so that we got another storyline there. Maybe he's actually going to be gunning for his job there. Although it's a little complicated because he is a part owner in the Raiders, and I think he has to divest. Basically, look, I think he's coming back, and I think he's coming back to the Raiders. Really? I already put my future in for the Raiders to make the playoffs.
Really?
Yeah.
When do you have him coming back, though? Before the season starts?
One injury. I think he's put it out there, and I'm fascinated with the looming prospect that Tom Brady's actually saying things now. He avoided it entirely last year. He sent that selfie video from the sand, and he stayed quiet, and he enjoyed a year off. But he started putting out the tea leaves and the crumbs out there, signaling to teams like, maybe not at the start of the year. I don't really have much interest in training camp. But if you got an injury, I'm open for business.
But they have depth. They have Gardner Minshew and Aiden O'Connell. They need 2 injuries.
Let me read you guys the quote here from Tom Brady, because if he's willing to say stuff, which he's never been willing to do, this can be more interesting. But he says...
He has a media company now. I mean... He's incentivized to say something, anything.
Well,
what can Tom Brady say that would make news?
It's not just a media company. He's being paid $375 million guaranteed, a lot more than he made in his career, to say stuff.
I know. I mean, plus he's also in the process of building his own media company, much the way Pat McAfee and the Mannings have done.
Stupid. Why don't you just take $375 million, work one day a week, and retire? Just go away.
Games, yeah.
Yeah,
call games.
so easy. Why do you need the stress of this?
Yeah.
Not that easy. Dan, you tell him. Not that easy to just start a media company. Why does he need this stress in his life?
Mm-hmm.
It would be much better to just be able to go to one football game a week for 17
Just tell us what you see,
than having to go and create an entire company.
He strikes me as a classic crammer also, right? I mean, obviously, everyone will tell us, he studies so hard, he does all this and that. He's going to cram. You don't think he's going to cram?
I have found that basically every athlete who's great tries to be great at this stuff. Like there is not, well, I shouldn't say every athlete who's great because there are some that aren't trying that hard. But the ones who you think are obsessive compulsive about being great, Dwayne Wade or whatever, they go into these fields or these other things after retirement, and they are very coachable about wanting to be coached, like about going around asking questions as if they don't know anything, wanting to learn. And I imagine Tom Brady doesn't want to embarrass himself. So he does say, though, and I ask you guys, is this anything or is it just something because Tom Brady's saying it? I know the Cowboys, how important they are to this network. They've got great storylines. Come on, Dak Prescott. Let's see if he can finally come through. And then he heard the buzz and he just said, Did that just slip out?
Yeah. Oops.
Well, he might have just had his lips done. You don't know.
Classic Tom.
Did that just slip out?
Could be talking about a tooth.
That is something. That is something because Tom Brady is saying it's something that everyone would say, but because Tom Brady is saying it, and where the bar is below the floor on he's not gonna say anything interesting when he says, "Will Dak come through?" Did that just slip out? As if it's a horrible mistake he made because he spent 20 years not saying anything.
Yeah, very benign comment in the criticism category, in the controversy category.
Unless you're Dak.
I'm already dreading the Greg Olsen hipsters. I love Greg Olsen. I think he's fantastic.
Awesome.
Go Canes. I will miss him on the main broadcast in specific moments. But the novelty of Tom Brady, the greatest ever to do it, hopping in the booth and talking about what is unfolding in front of his eyes with his perspective of knowing certifiably, wait, is this the greatest player to ever call a sport ever? Like Wayne Gretzky, he's a studio analyst, but in terms
Michael
of
Jordan hasn't called the game, so yes.
This is not this is a pretty cool novelty. Such that it is, but it's awesome. At least for 1 week, we get to hear the greatest by far to ever do it. Talk about this. And then we're going to look at the schedule and see when is he talking about the Chiefs? When is Tom Brady going to be scheduled against a Kansas City game? I think that's another reason to look forward to the schedule.
Give me whoever it is that you guys regard as second place on what Mike Ryan is talking about, because I'm not talking about Charles Barkley or studio hosts. I'm talking about a greatest ever who is willing 17 weeks a year to fly into Cleveland for a weekend to call a football game. There's a reason they're paying him the way that they're paying him. He has destroyed what is the salary market for this without having done it. And the reason is because they have to pay in order to incentivize the Michael Jordan of their sport to not be in ownership, but just come over here and talk about it. Be a partner with us on selling this. Be someone who hands the sport over to the young people by being a voice that people recognize. The premium price on that is because he is somebody whose time is that valuable.
Are you saying within football or just within sports?
I'm saying in the history of sports.
Scott Hamilton.
One of the things, that's a good one.
Aikman's up there. Aikman. John McEnroe.
Dude.
McEnroe's a good one.
McEnroe's good, but this is, bar none, the greatest to ever do it. And I'm not even talking, studio is a different thing. You get the live play-to-play thoughts of the greatest ever to do something as he's watching games just like you. This is amazing.
Yes.
I can understand having your doubts about it, but can we experience this first? I want to see his first Mahomes game.
It's amazing if he's any good at broadcasting. It's amazing if he says things that are interesting, dare say more interesting than his veiled criticism of Dak Prescott. Because he's Tom Brady, the great all-time quarterback, doesn't mean he's going to be good in his new job.
But even if he's not good, even that has a level of interest. Him dealing with the adversity of his confidence on the field doesn't apply to the booth. What is he going to do week to week to get better? Or is he just going to call it? Is he going to do the Jason Witten thing and just be like, I tried it for 1 year at the peak of the profession, and I'm not cut out for this? Because a lot of people do. You mentioned Dwayne Wade. I mean, I understand ownership got in the way, but a lot of guys get into this new media content game, and they get frustrated inside of 2 years because they're not as in control as they were when they were playing.
Way back when Dan Marino, you may recall, was broadcasting and didn't prove particularly good at it, and so he slowly faded, but he would have been one of those all-time greats to try.
Maybe A-Rod? He called baseball games?
Yep.
Yes, A-Rod would be one of them. Marino wasn't calling games. He was doing a studio show.
True.
That's different. I will say, because you may have noticed this at ESPN, maybe you didn't, in whatever the transition is, the difficulty of the transition for the greatest to find something else they're interested in. ESPN always had a hard time getting the top tier of athlete fame to go fly into Bristol to do stuff. So the guys they would get who were that kind of great, Emmitt Smith, Jerry Rice, Scottie Pippen, they were all terrible broadcasters. Like all three of them were really bad at broadcasting, uninteresting, but their level of fame made it so here's a primary voice. You can speak on behalf of your sport. It doesn't even matter if you're any good, but what Mike is saying is true. That guy's never in a booth with wires around his head on the night
Off the cuff.
on a Sunday, just calling games because Michael Jordan went from what he was doing to no, I want maximum power, and so they end up paying Tom Brady all of the money to do that. But I still ask you guys, I'm the only one here among us who just doesn't care about the schedule stuff. Like, I don't care which game Brady is doing first. I care that he's going to do it, and I will be listening to his first game. But it doesn't matter to me who he's calling.
Oh, it matters to me.
It matters.
To me. When is he going to do an Aaron Rodgers game? Is he going to do an Aaron Rodgers game? Is he going to be scheduled against the New England Patriots? Who knows? This is all very interesting to me. Because I'm a sports fan. I like getting excited about something I'm going to get excited about.
That's unfair what you just said.
So what Mike is saying is you're not a sports
because
fan.
I don't care about the schedule. I'm not a schedule fan.
Man,
Schedule equals games.
just think about how happy. All
But I
right.
know the games are going to be
sports.
played.
It's
So-
a bridge, Dan.
So Sundays, I got my spot on the couch. It's a sacred thing that we go through in this country.
Yes,
We all look forward to our football Sundays.
Yes.
King
And I
sport.
like seeing the schedule to come out. That second Sunday in November is going to be a good one. I like that stuff.
It was always Jets and Browns. Remember, we had like a 5-year run.
This is incredible. What a matchup for week one. The Browns never get the 4 o'clock Fox window against the Cowboys. That's a rare matchup.
I think Brady's getting it.
Yeah, but this is, I mean, you weren't excited to find out that that's going to be your first Sunday afternoon?
I told you.
America's game of the week?
You're not excited yet?
I am not. Your enthusiasm confused me about it. It just
Why?
confuses me.
Eagles versus Packers in Brazil. Neither team can wear green.
Yeah.
Thank you, Billy.
What? It's big.
Because it's a rival.
Yeah, it's banned from the
It's
stadium.
banned from the stadium.
Yeah.
How about that?
I don't know if you're familiar with these teams, but they
What are they going
green
to do?
in them uniforms.
Alternate black uniforms, road whites. I mean,
Watch
how
out
do
for
we
the
solve
pack
the
this year.
problem?
Yeah.
Everything in the
Pack is back.
NFL is overcovered. You got to realize that. Schedule day's big because everything is big. Rookie minicamp was covered like it's wonderful, heavy news. I don't care about rookie minicamp personally, but people do. NFL fans do care about the schedule as well.
Yeah, I must be alone on this.
Yeah,
and
you are.
Can we see the uniforms with the bubble wrap helmet?
Yeah.
I just want to know what my eyes have to get adjusted to.
Again, though, I will just tell you guys that none of this will be like when they're announced. None of these things that you want will be known. None of these.
They will all be known.
No, you
Oh,
don't
dude,
know.
it's gonna
No,
be
you don't
shocking,
know
the first
everything.
bubble
You
helmet
don't
that we see.
You
What's
don't know
happening?
what the helmets are going to be. You don't know what Tom Brady's going to sound like. You don't know who's good. You don't know who's going to win. You don't know what injuries
Of
they're going
course
to
I
be.
am. I'm a pig-headed man. I know everything. What are you talking about?
You don't know anything.
I'll see that, and I'll say 10 wins.
Yeah, there it is. That's what you do.
Spring is the best time to add new challenges to your training. Just in time for summer and warmer days, spring's the best time of the year to take a new look at your fitness routine, dial it up a notch, and continue powering on. Challenge yourself. And Peloton's classes were made just for that, to challenge you. There's a variety of classes like boot camps, boxing, full body strength, all created to grow your skills or push you to improve what you already excel in. Plus, if you don't know which class to take to reach your fitness goals, guess what? You can join one of Peloton's many programs. Right now, I'm in a strength program with Andy and a core program with Emma. They're expert coaches like Andy and Emma, and nonstop vibes will push you to new levels of strength and endurance, keeping you on your toes while giving you the professional coaching you need. With Peloton, you don't need to worry about driving to the gym, making it to class on time. You can do it all from the comfort of your own home whenever it fits your busy schedule. Get your head start on summer with Peloton at onepeloton.com.
Dan Le Batard.
It's the classic first ballot Hall of Famer, the musical fart, okay, where it can be a creaking door, it can be an orchestra tuning up before a concert, and the bassoon is a little bit off key, and it comes out like that.
Stugotz.
The musical fart. It's a beauty. It is a beauty. Me. Sorry. Shit.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz.
I have 2 items of film news for you guys, but Mike Ryan is insistent on giving us some breaking schedule news. Evidently, there's some breaking NFL schedule news.
Yeah, and It's big with a local audience here in South Florida.
Wow.
Both the big football teams involved. First off, game time for Florida, Miami has been announced. Ben Hill Griffin Stadium, 3:30.
You say that's as big a University of Miami football game for the entire program as there's been in how long? Because now the program is all in on football, because football has to be great, because basketball did not capitalize on the momentum of making a couple of Elite Eights, and the basketball programs are a little more broken than they used to be.
Dan, you know, when it comes to Miami athletics, I'm about as rational as one can get.
Yep.
But I'm also a student of history. And I know what it sounds like when I say these words. This is the most important football game in the history of the football program.
No pressure.
I feel bamboozled. I thought we were talking NFL.
When you consider the investment. We can have that conversation another day. Here's the real big news.
This is college schedule.
Yeah. But here's the real big news. Adam Schefter just shared the tweet.
Oh, I like that name.
This is the big news.
Amazon Prime just announced the first Prime football game of the season. Week 2. Bills Dolphins.
Wow.
Where?
I can't tell from the graphic.
Oh.
Well, Buffalo's above Miami in the graphic, which leads me to believe that Miami's the home team.
Unless you're in Europe.
You're right.
What happened,
Is it
Chris?
in Europe?
He just took the deepest breath I've ever heard, and you were away from the mic.
He's 2 feet away from the mic.
It's
when you
just
say that.
living,
It was
guys.
big news.
Greg, what's going on with
I
you
can't even
today?
breathe.
Because in
now.
soccer, the
Jeez
first team
Louise.
is the home team.
You're right.
Yeah,
It's the game in Europe.
You're right.
No one ever comments about my breathing until I come into the studio here.
Probably because there's a microphone in front
I
of you.
mean, a man's got to live.
What are your initial thoughts? Week 2, Thursday night, TBD location.
It's in Miami. I've just gotten a breaking news.
Oh,
Wow, look
like
at
that.
you into the schedule, huh?
Because they showed up second.
I wanted to delight you guys. I wanted to tickle you a little bit.
And you did.
Now you get them on a Thursday night, so the heat doesn't come into play. The sun, none
Yeah,
of
but you
that.
know where
I
my
like
mind
that.
starts going when I see that little
I don't like
nugget?
that at
I'm like,
all.
okay, so if that game's at home week 2, what is the NFL going to do to the Dolphins come December?
That's
in
what I'm
Buffalo.
saying.
Wow. Terrible.
It's a lose-lose.
This is why the schedule is exciting.
Terrible.
You lose the Heat, and now you have to go to Buffalo at the end of the season. It's
Bad,
terrible.
bad omen.
Oh,
Yeah, that's tough to play Buffalo that early on a short week. Very
Yeah, but
difficult.
Just like Billy said,
Short
like your,
week for both teams.
your advantage in September
yeah.
is the hot
and
sun.
now that's gone too because it's at night. Big time. Early winners and losers of the schedule release leak. Dolphins are losers right
Guys,
now.
it historically flip-flops. Like 1 year they play early in the season there.
No.
It's just like you
No,
guys are making
sometimes
this
it-
like
no,
this,
actually-
Take your logic and get the
Some-
out of here.
Sometimes,
Oh, man.
sometimes
Sorry.
you
Doesn't
can
work
usually
like that.
You want to mark that?
you can usually count on that, but not always.
There is very little chance that Chubb and Phillips will be ready. That is done. I'm done with schedule talk. I've got
You
breaking.
liked it though, admit it.
I did not.
That's a great Thursday nighter at the gates.
It's good content.
Now, in 21, they played Buffalo at home, the Dolphins did early in the season. I believe they did in 2022 as well. Chris, so you're wrong.
See, what I told you is you can't always count
Every
on it.
2 years.
Early season measuring stick game. A who's who, if you will.
Okay.
Week 2.
And I know without the schedule coming out that they play twice a year. Please leave me alone on this.
But where and when?
But the
that's what we
sun-
find out.
Dan,
Where
the
and
elements.
Do you remember what happened the last time Buffalo played a day game in Miami? Like there were 12 IV bags.
Ken Dorsey threw something at the camera. They forgot how time worked.
The
It was
sun
the whole
was making
thing.
people crazy.
Exactly.
And then he got fired.
That was the next season, but still, good point, Roy.
The heat is important when you talk about the fact that later this week in Miami, it's going to be 98, 99 degrees in the middle of May. We have had a blissful April, just charming. I couldn't believe how nice the weather was. But the end of this week brings horror of weather because it's going to be close to 100. And then we head into the hot stuff. So it is possible with climate change that wherever it is you put the Buffalo game against Miami, Buffalo will melt because our city is melting.
18 days till hurricane season, I believe.
I got my pack in the mail yesterday. Exciting time.
Why was it such a blissful spring down here? It was very mild. Was it the El Nino?
The Earth's up to something.
Well, I can't call it the El Nino because that's basically saying the Nino.
Right. Redundant.
Yeah.
I have 2 breaking bits of film news. Are you ready? Because the second one's going to get you guys very excited. I don't think you guys know the second one. You may know the first one. But the story of an aging and down on his luck private investigator in 1930s New York who is forced to grapple with his past life as the city's one and only superhero, Noir, is coming to MGM Plus and Prime Video, starring Nicolas Cage.
Now, which one's a MGM Plus? I did not have this one on my docket. There's an MGM Plus? I got to get MGM Plus now?
I have no idea.
I don't have MGM Plus. I've never heard of MGM
guess
Plus.
what?
Are you getting it now?
You're going to be paying $13.99 a month for it in like 2 weeks.
It's existed since 2008.
Oh,
Wow.
Oh, it used to be known as Epics with
is
an
that,
X.
That's
Yeah.
what. Okay.
The other bit of news that I do not think you guys know, Roadhouse 2 is in the works.
Ooh.
Starring Jake Gyllenhaal.
Is it Gyllenhaal? I think it's like a
Gyllenhaal.
J
You guys
sound.
correct me
It's
on
his
that every
cousin.
time.
Gyllenhaal.
It's a tough one.
You guys,
Like a medicine.
you guys liked.
Loved.
Put it on
Loved.
the poll at Le Batard Show. Is Gyllenhaal a medicine with many side effects?
I really liked the first Roadhouse. I thought it was a great popcorn movie. Thought Conor McGregor did a great job. Who would have thunk he could just really test his acting limits the way that he did?
Yeah.
Good action. A little too much CGI for my liking, but nice little nods to the keys. I'm excited about this.
Was it necessary? I mean, the first one was so good. It was perfection.
Neither one of them.
Which one are you talking about? The
necessary.
Gyllenhaal one or the Swayze one?
The Swayze one, of course.
I mean, they were both good. This one was good, man.
Yeah,
It became popular
It's a
to
good
hate on it.
storyline, right?
That was Dan. You watched it, right? Now you can have your issues with it, but you weren't not having fun at any point while watching it, were you?
I watched the first 70 minutes and thought it was terrible, and then circled back around after you guys yelled at me. And at the end of the movie, it was more laughably ridiculous. And if you're tuning in for just sheer absurdity at every turn, then I suppose I can understand how it is that you would watch this. I will not watch the second one. I'm surprised that Gyllenhaal has signed up for another one of these. I was surprised that he signed up for the first, but he clearly did it to get in shape and as homage to the first one, whatever it meant to him in his childhood. I can't believe he's doing a second one. This is one of the actors in Hollywood. I don't know who you guys choose here, but Ethan Hawke for me, or Ewan McGregor. There are a handful of actors that I trust their choices, and Gyllenhaal is somebody who generally makes good choices, and here he's just entertaining himself.
Well, he's afforded that. Because he makes all the other great art house pictures and stuff like that. He's a very talented actor, but also look at that physique. You can't be hiding that behind a T-shirt.
So wait,
we have
that
puppy.
Do we have him taking that role to get in shape? Like he
Yeah.
couldn't
That's crazy.
afford.
That's how
a
famous
trainer?
people do
Just
it.
get in
Chris.
shape.
Couldn't
Why
he just
does he-
have a trainer?
No,
afford
no,
one, can't he?
No.
He
You-
can't?
You need them. No, you need to take a role to do something. Did you see what Jason Bateman looked like recently? He was sitting next to Michael J. Fox. Everyone was shocking, like, "Oh, what is he doing? He's just training for a role."
But that's a blanket statement. You're saying all actors do that. They'll take a role to get in shape. Some actors will just get in
Why
shape
just
because
get
they
a
want to get in
trainer?
shape,
Well,
you
I
know?
can have the studio pay for my trainer.
That is true.
Yeah, J.K.
You need
Simmons.
incentives.
So you're saying
Yeah.
Jason Bateman just wanted to look like a wolf, so he took a role where he could do that.
That was actually cool. I didn't even catch the Teen Wolf aspect of him being in the same frame as Michael J. Fox. Good on you. I know that was your intention there.
For sure.
No, but actors generally let their facial hair and hair grow because they want to be ready for whatever Hollywood throws at them.
I wish someone would pay me to look like shit or to look good.
I feel like we are.
I am.
I want to accuse Le Batard of oddball behavior. Who invests 70 minutes in a movie and then decide, you know what, I don't like this enough, I'm going to stop watching? It's like reading 150 pages of a novel and then quitting on the book.
Totally
you don't
fair.
do that.
Yeah, once you get to 70 minutes, you're in.
Oh,
ridiculous.
I've bailed on books.
After 100 pages?
The
though?
Wickersham one? Are you kidding me? I saw the time left on this. I'm like, I'm not doing that.
You're not reading books, though. I mean,
Yes, I am.
they're audiobooks.
I'm reading audiobooks.
You're bailing on audio.
We're not having this conversation again, but I bailed on that
You're
book.
kind of bail.
You don't want to have that conversation because you're self-conscious. You know I'm right.
What are you talking about? You just put a book down and you put it back on the shelf, and you're like, oh, I bet you have dozens of books in your bookshelf that you put a bookmarker in saying you'll get back to that you just never got around to.
That's false. I investigate a book before I invest in it.
Roy, can you please look up for us, because we had this poll question recently where we asked people, do you ever bail on a movie if you're halfway through it, or are you the type of person that has to finish it? I am not. I think I came out in the minority. I am not a person who has to finish stuff. I rarely get into 70 minutes of a movie that bad as the original Roadhouse, but I tried to stay with it for the idea of it might produce some things that we could talk about here that would be funny, that our audience would be interested in.
You ended up liking it, didn't you?
No, I mean, no.
Yeah.
No.
I don't typically do that. Usually I start a movie, and no matter what, I'll finish it so I can have a full opinion on the picture. This happened to me recently with that Bob Marley biopic. I don't think I'm going back. It was just straight up bad. How can you screw that up?
Mike, I find it hard to believe that the Marley pick is worse than Roadhouse. That has to be about your expectations.
Oh, yeah, no. If Marley started fighting, that would save it.
Yeah. No, the Marley pick was bad.
I
actually saw it. I bailed inside of 30 minutes.
Roadhouse, the Roadhouse remake was bad.
No, it wasn't. No, it was bad if you're going for like an award or something. It had a mission. Let's have two ripped dudes just go to town let's fight each other in the Keys, and they did that.
Mm-hmm. Put it on the poll, please. Was the Roadhouse remake bad? I have seen that Gyllenhaal's workout regimen for this is something that Men's Fitness and others have grabbed because it was a very rigorous workout regimen. And I would say, Billy, that the blessing in something like this is to have both the goal of being super ripped off across from Conor McGregor in a movie, and also have the studio pay for you to get into monster shape that can be on the cover of muscle magazines. That is a reason to enjoy 8 months of making a silly cotton candy movie and getting, a six-pack.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm not impressed, though. I mean, you want to get in shape on your own.
Yeah.
Seriously.
It's cheating, really.
Right. It is.
Yeah, and, also,
and he probably did steroids. What?
They did all sorts of stuff. They do all sorts of stuff.
Not me.
They do all sorts of stuff.
I didn't say that.
His hair really isn't that dark.
What?
Pulling up to Mickey D's just for drinks? Oh, yeah, that's me. Nothing extra, just perfection and a straw. Coming in hot for the coldest cups on the block. Because there are drinks. Then there are drinks from McDonald's.
Ever combine an ice-cold frozen Coke with piping hot fries? Try frozen drinks any size for $1.49. Prices and participation may vary. Cannot be combined with any other offer.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.